Welcome to AstroTea, everyone. This is your weekly astro forecast and survival guide to the stars. So thank you to all our OG Astro fam and newbies for joining us while we take a closer look at the transits and cosmic energy of the week ahead. We have some amazing products like the AstroTea Journal and the Astro Calendar to help empower you on your unique journey of divine alignment with nature. So just click on the available links, and if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for the email list to join the tea party and get all the exclusive sit. So let's get this cosmic tea brewing. Hey Soul.
Happy Sunday, happy Gemini season. The sun entered Gemini early this morning. So happy solar return to all of the Geminis out there. I'm excited. If you want to know more about the sun entering Gemini, we talked about it last week. During last week's episode, you can head over to our YouTube and click the timestamp for Sunday's transit, where we talk more about the sun going into Gemini and what that means. So we'll get into some transit that the sun in Gemini is starting to make this week. So we're going to start with tomorrow, Monday, May 22nd. We have the sun in Gemini sextile Mars in Leo. So the sun in Gemini is fanning the Mars and Leo flames. That's what happens a lot when we have aspects with air and fire. Think about the fact that air and fire signs are both masculine, right? So they're projective, assertive energies, and you have fire and you have air. So what is the air going to do? It's going to fuel, it's going to give more power and attention to the fire. So you can think about it anytime you see an air sign sextiling a fire sign, or if you have that in your natal chart as well. So we're starting off the week a little hot, a little intense, dramatic, and a bit chaotic, right? Which is, we're in Gemini season. There's always going to be a little chaos. So there's a lot of competitive energy in the air. And if you're feeling energized on this day, you should spend some time doing something that really challenges your mind, right? So maybe something that you're not good at, but you have the humility to learn and be better. So maybe it's a new gym goal, right? Like trying to do pull-ups. Child, I'm at one. like one pull-up, right? So maybe it would be like to do 5, right? Or speeding up your mile time, or shooting more threes, right, at your after work basketball games. Whatever it is, something that is mentally and physically challenging that takes your athleticism to the next level is really great to do with this air and fire, right? This Gemini Leo. Both signs are very athletic, competitive, into physical agility, things like that. So the energy of today is also great to motivate and inspire people to act. So for those who do coaching and empowerment work, this would be a really great day to motivate, energize, and inspire your clients or your audience to be more self-confident and expressive, right? Especially during Gemini season. So it's important to try and use your words today to promote agreeableness and teamwork, like giving a pep talk to boost morale for the people around you, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's at work. It's like being able to be the solution-oriented or morale-oriented person to get people to work together. And lastly, this energy can also be a bit childish, right? Because we have the 2 child archetypes. We have Gemini, which is like the nature and curiosity and like curiosity of the child, asking a lot of questions, seeing how does this work? What happens if I do this? What happens if I press this? And then we have Leo, which is like the child archetype itself, right? Something that was created from the will of 2 individuals. So we have both child archetypes at play today. So maybe we're inspired by a young person or a child and feel encouraged to get back into our inner child energy, especially for those that work with children, right? Feeling inspired by the children that you work with. Or you may find that people may be a little bit like whiny and stubborn today and more prone to gossip or to argue. So choose your battles wisely, and again, try to be the person that promotes agreeableness, because people can have this the likelihood to be more stuck in their ways and to kind of like spread rumors and false narratives and things like that. So that's what I'm getting for Monday's energy. We're starting off the week a little hot, a little intense. So Empress, what does this look like in the tarot?
Girl, when you said the thing about the push-up, I was like, 1, I can do half. And then I started visualizing myself holding the bar, shaking like my life is in danger. Okay, so that was hilarious. let's get into Monday, guys. I loved that astrology breakdown, especially when you were talking about, being more solution oriented today. Definitely agree with that. I was getting that as well. But with Monday, the 22nd of March or May, we have the Sun in Gemini, sextile Mars in Leo, and in the tarot, this is the Sun in the Lovers and Knight of Swords, sextile the Seven of Wands energy. And this Gemini season, like today, the Sun enters Gemini, and then literally like boom, we start the week with this fire and air, intense, like masculine energy. And so this Gemini season is really not playing about targeting relationship dynamics of all kinds. Like this Gemini season might feel more intense than others, specifically when it comes to addressing relationship dynamics of all kinds. So if there is love that exists in the relationship, it's being highlighted with the Sun now, with the energy of the Lovers in the tarot. And so with the Knight of Swords also here and the Seven of Wands for this transit, Gemini season is wasting no time spilling the tea and potentially being messy to see if you'll really stand your ground with the Seven of Wands and maintain actions that will really display your loyalty to yourself. Can you be loyal to yourself even when people are saying things, even though you feel like you're not exactly where you need to be? And we'll get to that actually for tomorrow's transit a little bit more. We'll go deeper. But this moon day, there's definitely an opportunity to have conversations within relationship dynamics that will allow you to speak up for the ways in which you want to use your time. Okay, if there is a difference in view when it comes to situations, today it can come up. And depending on how much ego is involved, because we do have Leo here, okay, this can bring a truth and mutual respect for how each person in that dynamic want to achieve personal goals, or how you guys want to constantly engage in some type of versus match where you're opponents and you're out for blood. So it can go either way today. So be mindful of whether you are observing a difference in opinion as you against each other or you against the problem, because this is going to be the determining factor in how the conversation ends, your perspective and how you're looking at it, your mindset about it. Okay. And this will ultimately also be the determining factor on how the relationship continues. I feel like some of you in the collective are also having conversations to expose a friend or a loved one for certain actions or words that they took against you. So there could be intentional talks today where the intention is to end the relationship. But I was also getting, like you said, Soul, just being more solution oriented. I got it a bit more strongly for another transit where I spoke about it a bit more, but definitely being solution oriented today. It's both of you against the problem, not against each other. I also love what you mentioned about fanning the flames, because that just, brings up how hot certain situations could get today. And then also asking questions. I like that you said kind of acting and taking on that child mentality, like definitely exploring like a child this week can really help to allow us to change into different ways of being based on what we observe that we deserve in Taurus season, what we observed our value is in Taurus season, and now carrying that through to make, in this mutual energy of Gemini that we're entering, make magic literally in our ability to manifest based on our actions and growing into that change. So let's get into Tuesday's transit, Soul, as we continue the week.
Yeah, I love that it's us against the problem and not us against each other. And I think that speaks the role of like Mars and Leo trying to teach us how to have a healthy expression of ego. That's going to be definitely like a challenge that I think that if we pay attention to it at this point and really start to do some of the self-work, then the Venus retrograde in Leo that we have coming later in the year won't be as like jarring, and we may not be put in as many social dynamics that kind of remind us that, hey, your ego's out of check. So it's important to start addressing and doing that work now that we have Mars and Leo. So Tuesday, May 23rd, we have Mars and Leo squaring Jupiter in Taurus. And I'll get into something else. We have a lot of a very interesting kind of situation with are fixed signs right now, minus Scorpio energy. So I'll get into that as we close out for Tuesday. So Tuesday is a Mars day. This is a really great day to put yourself out there. Get into your confidence bag on this Mars day. And having Mars in Leo while the Sun is in Gemini is giving us the boost that we need to speak up, to join the conversation, to network, to promote ourselves and our business, and to also utilize our immediate network and resources to advance our passions and our creativity. So with Mars squaring Jupiter, we're being asked here to discern the difference between the image of strength, of success, and power with what? With our divinity and genuinely being a charitable person. So like the image of success versus genuinely being someone that is giving, someone that is charitable, someone that is honest, somebody that values themselves and moves through life and their relationships from a place of that honor. So Mars in Leo is quick to jump in the photo op, right? To talk about the great work that they do, to do interviews and press releases about their impact and their success, while Jupiter in Taurus is more of like the silent partner, the benefactor, the one that has the resources to change people's reality and to do it anonymously or to do it privately. And this isn't about jumping to either extreme. It's just that this square is creating just enough pressure and tension between these two pathways that it forces us to recognize what are our true motivations, right? Especially as it relates to wealth, to status, success, and fulfillment. Like this battleground, think of it as like a training ground, is going to show us like, ooh, that's how I reacted in a situation where my image was on the line. You know, this is how I reacted when I didn't get the credit for investing in something or doing something or helping someone. Like, you know, it's those moments that's like, ooh, what is that? Is that ego? Is that pride? What is that feeling, right? So it's not about going to either extreme. It's just an opportunity for self-reflection. A lot of us have been dealing with wanting to feel like a good person versus just allowing our self-worth to radiate and bring value to everything around us. We're thinking about it backwards, right? When we truly do things from the heart, people will recognize that pure energy versus being like, how do I feel like a good person? How do I look like a good person? So working on our character rather than our reputation brings us ease and peace of mind, because when the inner matches the outer, we don't feel a need to defend or justify ourselves, because like, you know what you get and you see what you get, and I'm the same inside versus outside, versus like, ooh, when we feel like the inner is not giving what the outer is giving, then we need to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves, to justify certain things. So what I was saying is that it's very interesting to note with fixed signs right now, we have a T-square. So we have Jupiter with the North Node in Taurus, we have Mars in Leo, and we have Pluto in Aquarius. It's all creating this like T-square in the fixed signs. So what does that mean? Especially in the context of today's transit, it's that our willingness to forego our material aspirations and instead to pursue the spiritually fulfilling aspects of that, like what is underneath that's actually like bringing fulfillment to us. It can give us this sense of joy, pride, and confidence that then allows us, it's like a springboard to transform our reality and to be granted expansive resources and supporters to elevate our selfless humanitarian efforts. Like when we're willing to see what is it besides me and what brings me stability, what brings me joy, but how can I like multiply and expand joy and happiness and stability for others. We're granted that extended level of help because we've been willing to take the ego out of our why, right? So that's what I'm getting for Tuesday's energy. It's like we have a lot of Taurus energy happening this week that reminds us like, hey, it's like a little quiz. Like, what did you learn this Taurus season? What's the multiple choice? What's the right answer? It's like Taurus season is here to still remind us those lessons about self-worth. How can we apply them to this new energy of Gemini season? So that's what I have for Tuesday's energy. What does this look like in the tarot, Empress?
Yes, for Tuesday, the 23rd of May, we have Mars in Leo squaring Jupiter in Taurus. And in the tarot, this is the Seven of Wands energy squaring the Wheel of Fortune and the energy of the Hierophant and King of Coins. And today's forecast can bring up or can just bring a buildup of energy about results that are not being seen in independent tasks. So I love how you saw with, you kind of understanding gratification based on your actions and who is seeing that or how you're being recognized for that soul for today's transit. And it may reveal missing information that you need to incorporate in order to see further progress in your actions. So learning new information today about the subjects that actually interest you, that you want to take action on and move forward with. Today is a day that Spirit wants to provide you with those missing keys to unlock doors of fortune for yourself. But you have to go on a scavenger hunt to find them. They're not going to just be laying around for you to access. So go online with this Gemini energy that we've now entered. Look up resources, right? Now that you've understood what your value is, what your worth is, what you deserve, what you feel you deserve, right? Go and now take that fixed energy and going out and getting it, right? Go online, look up resources. Perhaps you want to read a book. Go to the library if you don't have that book in your house. Expand your level of commitment with the Hierophant here by expanding your knowledge today. Be a student today. The blockages you are experiencing are due to information that you have not come across yet. The blockages you are experiencing are due to information that you have not come across yet. So watch videos to learn things today, okay? Look for things like that child energy that we just mentioned for Monday. Keep that going in the beginning of the week, right? Through to Wednesday at least, and you'll understand why when we get into Wednesday's energy. Have conversations with people, right? Talk to people about the things you're interested in. And instead of getting frustrated because you feel weary and consistent doing, use that energy, and instead of getting frustrated, focus on doing independent outreach to find solutions. So this is exactly what Soul was mentioning yesterday. Be solution oriented. Some of you are feeling a stunt right now because you're not thinking big enough. So think big, beat, right? Think big, right? You have to think bigger, okay? Be confident that you'll find the answers that you seek with the Seven of Staffs energy, right? Know that when you seek, you will find. You'll continue to see those efforts translated into success as you also share what you're working on with others, and they provide you with unexpected information that will bring growth for you. Gemini season is germination season. I'll get into what that means in later transits, but this is a time where you're still focused on how you are having expansion independently, but you're including others in your manifestation now. You're allowing other people insight into what you're wanting to manifest for yourself, how you're wanting to create and manifest and see magic happen in your own life. So I'll leave it there, but let's go ahead and get into Wednesday's transit. So
there were so many bars when you said Gemini's germination season and like so much about being a student. I was getting that. Like, I feel like that's a huge theme for the week. And I think that the beginning of the week is reminding us like about our issues with worthiness and ego, and both of those being barriers that get in the way of us really being open, humble students willing to receive things that we don't know. So I love that synchronicity. And I'm thinking too, like, just very briefly, like I feel as though with the news and with like the whole pandemic and lockdown that we've recently emerged from, I think skepticism about community and relationships is like at an all-time high. Right, we see these things about like in the news, these terrible things that happen, and it makes us feel unsafe. It makes us feel like we can't talk to people. And then just honestly, like 3 years of not being able to go outside, to talk to people, to commune and to relate to people. Everyone was like on edge and guarded. Like this Gemini season, I feel like is an opportunity for like, get to know your neighbors, right? Ask for some sugar, help your neighbors with their groceries again, right? Building down those walls of mistrust is like important, because our local neighborhood is an asset for us to be able to really have and feel that supportive community. And I'll get into that as well with Venus and Cancer. So Wednesday, May 24th, we have Venus and Cancer squaring Chiron and Aries. That to relate that to what I just said, is like, what is our suspicions about community? When have we felt like, ooh, I was exiled, or I don't fit into community, or I don't need community, I can do it by myself? Like, this is an opportunity to kind of reconcile these and to see the beauty and to develop a deeper appreciation for the value that community has. So this day brings a beautiful conversation for reconciliation, for addressing hurt feelings, and for allowing ourselves to be loved and to be cared for. This is a day for restorative justice, where feelings are not swept up under the rug, like, oh wow, like, I'm sorry you feel that way, I didn't know that I impacted you that way. But it's really like each issue is actually being addressed, accounted for, and there's an agreement, a mutual agreement on how to heal the hurt and repair it and move forward with greater intentionality and awareness. Like, okay, wow, I didn't know I made you feel that way years ago, but I understand this was where I was coming from and I did not intend to do harm. How do we move forward? How can I repair this hurt that you feel and you've carried for so long? That has been part of your emotional baggage, your insecurities, your feeling of lack of love, right? It's really like having an accountable, present conversation. And so this is especially powerful for healing relationships with women in your life, women with whom interactions with them have left you scarred, or feeling like you have to repress parts of yourself in order to receive love, care, and grace. You may also realize that a part of yourself that you've intentionally kept private or secret out of fear of judgment isn't perceived by others in the negative way that you think it is. So whether that comes out or it's revealed, or your friend or family member talks about it in a way like, oh, I thought they would be judgmental about this or these kind of people or this lifestyle, but like, wow, I've been holding that back because I thought that they felt negatively about it, when like that's not how they feel at all. So some sort of realization about that. This is also a reminder that you can do everything for a person, right? Emotionally, financially, you can cook them a meal, you can give them the clothes off your back, and they'll still paint you as the villain. And this speaks more to their feelings of guilt for not being able to be a person of influence and helpfulness that you have the capacity for, right? It's not about you needing to prove yourself, or maybe if I just give them money one more time, maybe if I just help them out of this tough situation one more time, they'll like tell people that I'm actually a good person and I'm not that bad. And like, they still do it. They're still at the table gossiping about you and the way that you choose to live your life and things like that. And you're like, it's, you actually have the capacity and the willingness to help people, to get people out of a sticky situation, out of a rock and a hard place. They don't have that, which is why they feel like they're dependent and coming to you. So sometimes relationships have really reached their course. So how can we be okay with letting go and starting over? Cancer has the tendency to really hold on to relationships that have brought them emotional security, but this is about tapping into the fact that cardinal water squaring cardinal fire, we always have the ability to start over, to start something new, to let a chapter close, right? So yeah, a lot of like the beauty of reconciliation, or maybe realizing that certain relationships are beyond that, and that's okay. So how do we move forward with our emotions intact? So that's what I have for Wednesday's energy. I'm excited we've gotten a lot of overlap, so I'm excited to hear what you have for Wednesday, Empress.
I know. Oh my goodness. Like, I love what you just said about when we have felt exiled in our life. And it just made me think about asking the question to ourselves of how are we continuing an exile that has expired due to programming from that exile? Like, your sentence is over. It's like you're sentenced to 10 years in prison, and then the 10 years is up, and then you're like still in the jail cell, like, I belong here now, like, and they open the bars and everything, like, go, like, get out, you can leave. And you're like, no, this is where I don't know anything else, kind of. So I really loved the mental, the thoughts and the process that came up when you mentioned that. And so for Wednesday, May 24th, we have Venus in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries, and in the tarot, this is the Empress in the Chariot and Queen of Cups energy squaring Chiron in the Emperor and Queen of Wands energy. And honestly, at this point, when I'm looking at the cards for this week, like this week so far can feel very uncomfortable for a lot of us, right? Because at this point in the week, there may be adjustments required as we move from that fixed energy of Taurus to the mutable energy of Gemini. Like, this is the first week that we're getting settled into a new energy as a collective. So it can be a little bit bumpy, kind of like when you're, ascending, when you're leaving the runway and coming into the air now, literally, you're leaving the ground, you're leaving Taurus, the earth element, and coming into the air element. So think about when you're on an airplane and you're building up speed and momentum on the runway, and now this first week of Gemini is like those first wheels of the plane lifting off to come into the air. So there can be that, you need to keep swallowing because your ears are cracking, like that adjustment that your body is having to this new energy. So it can feel a little bit uncomfortable at this point in the week, but don't worry, the flight attendant will be on shortly to, make sure you guys are all good and get you settled in with that drink. Okay, don't worry. This could bring up resistance. Today's energy could bring up resistance and allowing the divine feminine energy to lead you into expressions that celebrate your creative energy, that celebrate love and beauty. And this may have something to do with a mother, a grandmother, or feminine energy that is no longer with you for some of you, and that got you interested in certain creative expressions in the first place. So, for example, anytime you sew, right? Anytime you look at a sewing machine or think about clothes that you want to make, because this is your creative passion, right? Making clothes, right? Being a fashion stylist. That, let's say, for example, that's your passion. And anytime you think about sewing, or anytime you pick up a needle to start sewing or sit in front of the sewing machine, you think about how your grandmother or your mother or that divine feminine representative in your life taught you. And so you choose not to express yourself creatively in that way. For others of us in the collective, this could be the opposite. So feeling uncomfortable in creative expression and allowing that energy to lead, that feminine energy to lead in your life, because you've had an unsupportive feminine experience that hurt you emotionally by not supporting your passions, right? By even taking malicious actions to make things even more difficult for you. And so now you have a wound that blocks you from creating creative expression or doing just what you love because of the seeds that were planted from that experience, right? That were at a more programmable stage in your life. And so I love what you mentioned, so about, doing anything to pour into someone, to nurture them, to show them love, and they still talk about you behind their back. They'll still be malicious to you. They'll still, talk down to you. So if you are watering seeds, remember this today. Okay. How do I say this? This is germination season. So this is sprouting time. We're in the spring season. Aries is the cardinal energy that brings it in. So we're planting seeds. Taurus is the fixed energy where we're tending to those seeds that we planted in Aries. And now in Gemini, it's germination season. So it's time for those seeds to start sprouting through the earth, right? If you are watering seeds of doubt and lack at this time, with negative self-talk, with emotions that are not of the vibration that you have in mind and how you want to grow, that is what will sprout in this season. If you recognize that your gifts and talents want to sprout and you focus on nurturing those seeds so that they grow and you start to take action with your creative expression, that is what will sprout for you this season. So on this Mercury day, write down and speak positive and affirming mantras over your life and what you're going to create, what you are creating. Also journaling why you maybe don't feel powerful, lifting up your feminine energy, right? Because that can bring up memories for us, people that you gave authority to, gave authority over your mind and authority over certain decisions that you made, and you need to reclaim your throne with the Emperor and the Empress card here. You need to stop giving your power away and instead germinate your own seeds and allow them to sprout. So that's what I was seeing for today's energy. Like I said, it could feel still a bit uncomfortable. There could be a little bit of, shakiness now, as I mentioned with that example of a plane leaving the runway to ascend into the air. Can be that process that we're going through this week at this point specifically. But hang in there, because it's going to get better as we settle in and we reach altitude, right? So let's get into Thursday's transit. So
I love that visual example. I think that was so helpful to visualize what it means to shift from Taurus into Gemini energy. And I'm so excited because the way that you ended Wednesday is such a perfect segue into Thursday. What you said from our mind and our decisions, right? Reclaiming our throne. And now Thursday, May 25th, we have the moon in Leo, and it's quincunx, or in conjunct Saturn in Pisces. So this is happening at 6 degrees, which is a Virgo degree. So the moon will be at 6 degrees Leo, in conjunct Saturn at 6 degrees Pisces. So this is a day to examine our self-talk, our self-perception, our issues with confidence, and how that is projected in the ways that we show up in relationships and conversations. Like, are you the person, I do this a lot, prefacing statements, or do you maybe make self-deprecating jokes or comments? How is your confidence projected in the way that the words that you choose, your delivery of your perspectives and thoughts and conversation, kind of that sort of relationship, with the moon in Leo being in the 3rd house of the sun. So it's also going to give us some insight into what people really think of us, even though it shouldn't matter necessarily, but we'll see something that perhaps our perception is different than our self-perception. So the moon in Leo being in the 3rd house of the sun at this Virgo degree speaks to our internal dialogue, our thoughts as it relates to our capacity and our potential to execute, and also how sometimes that leads us to a place of harsh self-criticism and feeling down on our confidence and our image because of that. And this is especially powerful on this day because the moon in Leo is conjunct Lilith in Leo. So this is also bringing up feelings of shame or guilt, or feeling like we're going to be judged if we do decide to show out and to speak up and to take up space in conversation and to project in a way that is confident and strong. Right? Like this energy that you said about reclaiming our throne. It's we pre-anticipate these feelings of judgment when we do reclaim our throne, even though that hasn't happened yet or happened at all. It may never happen, but it's that fear and innate guilt and shame of do I deserve to shine brightly? Do I deserve to shine so bright that it makes other people uncomfortable? How do I deal with that? Those kinds of feelings. So when Saturn in Pisces in the 10th house, people may actually see us as a master of compassion, a charitable person, a person who's emotionally available to be there to listen to your problems, someone who's emotionally mature, right? People may see us in a much more positive way than we see ourselves. And we may be shown that people think of us in a better, more positive way than we think of ourselves. But it's important to note with that, in Gemini season, we can only see others' thoughts and opinions of us as no more and no less than a singular perspective in an infinite sea of perspectives. Remember, Gemini is all about, let me weigh this. What's this perspective? What's this thought? So it's you can take into account people's opinions and thoughts of you, but just understand it's just one of an infinite number of perceptions and perspectives about you. And what matters most is your internal fixed sense of self-confidence with this moon in Leo. So there's going to be some sort of misunderstanding. We might realize that we're seen in a much more dignified, confident light than what we internally view and see ourselves as. So what are you getting for Thursday's energy with this in conjunction between the moon and Saturn, Empress?
Yeah, so for Thursday, with the moon in Leo, quincunx, or in conjunct Saturn and Pisces in the tarot, this is the high priestess in strength in the King of Wands energy, in conjunct the world in the moon and Knight of Cups energy. And with today's forecast, the high priestess is helping us to build strength and learn how to exert energy in a way that allows us to run cross country and not a 100-yard dash. right? Today is all about stamina, because Leo is a fixed energy, and as such, it's about maintaining confidence and belief and leadership and vision. And so today, allow spirit to be your coach. Allow spirit to be that voice in your ear that's like, you can do this. Okay, we got 5K. You're at the halfway point, or you just finished 1K. You got 4 more to go. Okay, focus on your breathing. Okay, so allow spirit to be your coach. Tap in with spirit today and talk to divine about how you are honestly feeling, your frustrations, any reservations that you have at this point, your feelings, everything. Like, let it loose. Wake up at 5 o'clock, which is a Leo number. Hello, somebody. You need to join the 5 a.m. club. Some of y'all need to join the 5 a.m. club. Some of y'all need to join the 5 a.m. club, okay? But wake up, go on your mat, do your meditation, go for a walk, whatever you have incorporated or taken on as your rising routine. And in that time that you've set aside to speak with spirit, be brutally honest. God can take it. Goddess can take it. They can handle the heat. They created the heat. So talk to them, be real, be honest, be like, spirit, you got me fucked up in here. Like, I don't know why this is not coming through. Why am I getting tired all the time? Why do I not want to have that lasting power? You trying to have me run a 5K. You know I only train for 100-yard dashes. You know I'm a sprinter. Why you got me running cross country? You know I'm a sprinter. Like, why? What is this? Okay? You know I only do hurdles. Why are you trying to make me do shot put? Okay? What is this? Help me understand. Like, talk to spirit. Be real with him about any frustrations or reservations that you're having. Anything, any feelings that are allowing you to identify a lack of confidence in certain things that you're working on. Have a real conversation and empty your cup so that it can be filled by spirit. Spirit's like, okay, you got an empty cup? Cool. Let me get you some Gatorade so you can hydrate. Let me get you some electrolytes because you're going to need this. Water break. Okay. Shout out to Waterboy. Okay, shout out to Adam Sandler. Gatorade, H2O. I'm about to watch that. Okay, watch. Check my story on Instagram. I'm probably about to pull that up. But you are exactly where you need to be right now. Keep this in mind. Amongst all the frustration, all the feelings, all the reservations you have right now, you are exactly where you need to be. So surrender to the process and continue to utilize healthy ways of communicating your feelings. Sometimes with the strength card, you need to be aligned and just roar and get that energy out. Scream, yell, right? Put your face in the pillow and be like, I don't want to wake up and go to work. Turn your face in your pillow and scream. Be like, I don't really, like scream. Let the energy out. Okay? For some of us in the collective, all goals have no choice but to take time because of how big they are. How you have a big ass dream and you want it to take 2 months. That don't make no sense. Like, make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I said with the cross country and 100-yard dash, if you do want to run cross country, how are you approaching cross country with a 100-yard dash breathing technique? You need to switch it up. It's not gonna work, right? So sometimes our goals are so big that they have no choice but to take time. You need to be the king of staves. Be mature about the actions you're taking and trust the process. Trust spirit. In the same way, when children like throw a temper tantrum and they're like, I want ice cream. And lo and behold, their mom has already bought them ice cream. It's in the freezer and everything. And their mom was planning to surprise them with it already. But they're like throwing a temper tantrum. But their mom has already bought the ice cream. It's in the freezer already. They just don't know. She was planning to surprise you with it. And you're already ruining the surprise with your dang attitude. Right? Some of us in the collective need to stop throwing temper tantrums because God is looking at us like, it's literally 2 days away. If you would just chill out and tell me your problems, confess that, let it out. Okay, cool, but keep going. Then you will literally turn the corner and there's a whole ice cream truck that has your name on it. Stop. You know what I'm saying? So don't spoil the surprise. Don't spoil the surprise that Goddess has in store for you by being ungrateful or being bratty or misusing your passionate energy at this time. This could be experienced with children today as well. I'm not going to lie. You might have real kids in your life that just throw tantrums. You're like, I want to punch you in the face, but I know you're a child, so I'm not about that life. And here, take the ice cream. Take this. Get out my face. You know what I'm saying? This could be experienced with actual children today. Instead, when you have feelings of frustration in your current situation, practice your magic, right? Practice manifesting what you want by being a vibrational match and instantly going into that state of appreciation and gratitude. If you need to hold both of your hands up in the air, it don't matter if you look weird. It doesn't matter, just throw your hands up and surrender. You know what, God, I'm really frustrated right now, but I'm going to just surrender to you. Let me just, Coach, I need a pep talk. Coach, let's go to the locker room real quick. I need a pep talk. This will only bring whatever you're wanting, whatever you're walking towards to you faster. And it will make you feel a lot better when Goddess surprises you with exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or think in the near future, right? Sooner than you think. You're going to be a lot happier with the way you were able to handle your energy when you realize that some of your goals and some of your success is a lot closer than you realize, but you're frustrated because there might be that buildup of energy before you actually see it in the physical reality. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Okay, I do not condone violence in any way, so don't nobody come to me about what I said about that child before. You all know you had that feeling before if you deal with children. So I'll stop there. Let's go ahead and get into Friday, Soul.
I just want to give that a moment to breathe. You got me all the way together, even down to it was so funny with the 5 a.m. club. I've been, 5:30, 5:15. I told myself the other day, girl, it's not called the 5:15 a.m. club. It's called the 5 a.m. club. I gave myself just enough time to go to the gym and get other things ready, but I was like, damn, an extra 15 minutes I could spend the day with spirit before I even go to the gym. I'm giving myself just enough time, but really sticking to that 5 a.m. because I think Saturn and Pisces, you really helped me realize too, Saturn and Pisces is about that spiritual discipline too. So regardless of especially Gemini season when we have a lot of priorities, how do we still have that spiritual discipline? So I'm like, girl, when you said 5 a.m. club, I'm like, I literally had that talk with myself the other day. I'm like, that's the only way you're going to be able to still have time with spirit in the morning and then start my day off centered. So I appreciate the realness. And so Friday, May 26th, we have Venus in Cancer sextiling Uranus and Taurus. And so this is really beautiful because not only is it Friday, it's a Venus day. We got Venus in Cancer with this sextile to Uranus and Taurus. It's happening at 19 degrees, which is a Libra degree, which is the other side of Venus, very Venusian and a very particular unique way for this Venus day. So a lot of us have been craving community, family, a sisterhood, especially a coven, a support system, right? We're realizing it's oh man, I can do it on my own. Aries season showed me that I have the capacity to do it on my own, but do I have to? Can I do this in community? Can I have support? Can I have empathy? Can I have access to resources? Can I have people that share their perspectives as how they got through these kind of dark times, these challenging times? Can I have people who kind of lift me to a position where I can now uplift other people? A lot of this has been on our mind. Do we have to do this by ourselves? Can I do this in community? Can I do this in relationship with other people? So it's Taurus season, I think, brought up either for some of us, we feel we're not even worthy of the support and ease that we're seeking, right? Especially for our Virgo and Capricorn people during Taurus season, that trine, it's kind of do I feel I'm worthy of ease? You're saying it doesn't have to be hard? You're saying I don't have to invest years? What is this? Can it really be easy? Is that okay? Do I have the worthiness of things coming easily and naturally to me? For some of us as well during Taurus season, we're realizing that putting the need of community and of support in the hands of other people can leave us disappointed, or actually still more confused and questioning our worth than it was in the first place. Like, I don't think I'm worthy of support, so I'm gonna go out on a lifeline and ask these people for support. And then they let you down and they don't they don't come through for you, and you're like, is this confirmation that I'm not worthy of support? And it's like, no. In a time of desperation, you put that need of security and support in the hands of somebody else instead of what Venus and Cancer going inward, going to the emotional parts of ourselves. Like, where is this feeling heavy? You know, where is this feeling like too much for us to handle, that we felt desperate enough to kind of put it on somebody else in this moment? So this is a really great day. That being said, right, realizing that, yes, we're worthy of community. Yes, we're worthy of support. This is a really great day to go out. Actually, like, leave the house. Venus and Cancer, there's opportunity for relationship and beauty when we're willing to leave the house, right? So look for events that are on the smaller side, the more intimate side, with people that value similar things, or people who are also seeking community. Specifically, I was getting jewelry making, beauty, food and wine, wealth, culture. Like, these are really great affinity groups for the energy of this day, that if this is something you wanted to do, find something locally in your neighborhood to see if like people are already doing this. For me, I didn't even realize the energy of this day. A few days ago, I actually signed up for a free wine tasting, you know what I'm saying, happening this coming Friday. So it's like spirit perfectly aligned that. So, you know, it's a small event at a Black owned, I think it's Black woman owned wine shop. And you just get to have a little intimate event with other people who at least, you know, like wine and are supporting Black business. So, you know, we'll see. So things like that, right? So Uranus and Taurus is going to bring us unexpected value through relationships and deepening the quality of our network, right? That's something too. Gemini season, we're connecting fast, we're connecting with a lot of people, but then how do we like retain and sustain that relationship? How do we get more intimate, right? So you may also have an unexpected family issue, and people are looking to you to provide care or financial help, specifically to family issues relating to addiction, prison, bail money, rent money, financial issues in general. People are expecting you to be the person that helps everyone in crisis, or to be the person that finances the solution to these family problems. So understand that your worth does not come from your ability to help others. And if you don't have it to give, that doesn't mean that you can't help other people come up with creative solutions to solve their problem. It's like, I don't got to check for you, but like, here, I can help you. Why don't you call this person? Why don't you do this? Why don't you, you can still come up with a creative solution that doesn't put you on the front line of taking that burden. So a question to think about this day: are we addicted to feeling like the hero that saves the day? Like, does that make us feel secure in our relationships? And how can we liberate ourselves from the box that we've put ourselves in that tells us that we're only capable of love when we bring stability to the lives of other people? That may be our gift, but it's not our obligation. We might have the gift of solution. We may have the gift of loyalty. We may have the gift of consistency, of loving others, of nurturing others, but that's not our obligation. Child, this is a gift, okay? You got to appreciate it. We get gifts on Christmas and on our birthdays and whenever we feel nice, right? It's not something that we're obligated to do for somebody because they're not willing to start to do for themselves. So that's what I'm getting for Friday's energy. I'm excited to hear what you have in terms of the tarot before we get into the weekend.
Yes, I love what you just said about putting on needs in the hands of others and how that can leave us feeling disappointed at the end of the day. I love that you just said that. Also, how you said that asking ourselves that question of, are we addicted to feeling like the hero, feeling like we have to swoop in and save the day, when we really need to be prioritizing our own tasks and how we are staying in a vibration that matches what we want to manifest, what we're wanting to germinate, where we're wanting to see our seeds sprout at this time. So I absolutely love that you brought that up. So on point for today's energy. So So for Friday, May 26th, we have Venus in Cancer, sextile Uranus in Taurus, and in the tarot, this is the Empress in the energy of the Chariot and the Queen of Cups, sextile the Fool in the energy of the Hierophant and King of Coins. And today is a beautiful day to look at the ways you can achieve victory by expressing your love and sensuality instead of doubting yourself. So that's why I really loved what you mentioned and what came up for the astrology for today's transit. In relationship dynamics, this sextile is a day to show more emotion and be intentionally vulnerable to experience a deeper connection between you and your loved ones. So establishing new ways to connect and interact with one another. Just as you said, like going outside, right? Like what are some activities? What are some events? What are some conversation topics that you can initiate to see an elevation in your relationship status? While you both may be working on tasks that focus on your individual talents and gifts, how can you incorporate spending time together and it be beneficial for you both? Because like you said, so I've been going through that with the trine for Taurus season of like, can I really not work as hard and be able to reap the same benefits or reap that same level of abundance that I seek? Right? Is it beneficial for me to be spending so much downtime instead of focusing on my own tasks and goals, right? And so today is about compromising for growth and progression. The stagnancy that you may be experiencing in relationship dynamics at the moment may be in large part due to the lack of communication and lack of effort by one of you, by both of you. And some of us in the collective have maybe stopped trying altogether, stopped putting ourselves out there, both in relationships and in seeking new relationships. And in the other way, just as Sol mentioned, some of us might be putting too much out there. Some of us might be, putting too much into relationships instead of the relationship with ourselves, right? That Lover's card for Gemini in the tarot also represents your internal relationship between your divine feminine and divine masculine. So now that we are out of Taurus season, you should know or have a better idea of what you believe you deserve. If you believe you deserve to experience more love in your relationships, then what fixed efforts are you taking to be a vibrational match to what you believe you deserve from someone else? What efforts have you been making to brighten up and bring more fun to your current relationships? Some of us are boring. Like you were saying, so like some of us just want to be in the house all the time, just want to like, sometimes I'm, victim to this. Like I'll just want to be in the house and like walking on whatever I'm doing, like, cause it's boring to, my partner, but it's fun to me cause I'm getting to work on my gift, work on my talent. But in the relationship, it's like, you're coming across boring. Like, you don't even know like that you are coming across that way because you're like, oh, I'm focusing on what I have to do, what I have to go after. But it's like, you're not putting any energy into the relationship dynamic, but you want someone else to be putting in a whole bunch of effort. So just focus on being a vibrational match to what you want to experience in relationships. Be more open to leaps of faith with this Fool card here that can lead to an increase in union with those that are willing to meet you in the middle, right? So you clearly about what you want to experience in relationship dynamics, saying, honestly, I always feel like I have to come save the day. I feel like you're Lois Lane and you constantly jumping out of skyscraper buildings, want me to swoop in when I'm at work across town and just sense that you're in trouble. Like, I don't like that relationship dynamic. Something needs to change, like you're literally intentionally putting yourself in positions to where I have to save the day. Right? I know you guys remember the cartoon clip of Superman. Like, do you remember the comic where like she was like, oh, I can't take it, and then she like jumped out the window, and then Clark Kent didn't want to reveal his identity, so like he had, he has super speed, he had to like hurry up and rush, and then all he did was like push a cart so she would bounce off of the thing and not die. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just how she was just wanting him to be the hero so bad. So that's why I really love what you mentioned. So that's the visual that it gave me when you mentioned it. But be more open to leaps of faith, as I said, that can lead to that increase with those people that you're actually willing to meet in the middle with, and that are willing to meet you in the middle, and that want to see victory in the relationship dynamic that you both have as well. It's a collaborative effort. So as long as you're both showing up, as long as you're both working on yourself independently, you can decide together how you can incorporate more fun in that relationship, more romance in the relationship, more love in the situation. You get to decide based on your collaborative efforts and an increase in communication about how to bring more fun into your experience together. So that's what I'll say for Friday. Let's go ahead and get into the weekend.
And I love that, because speaking of communication, on Saturday, May 27th, now we have the Moon in Virgo trine Mercury in Taurus. And like, ooh, like that feels very supportive, but also practical. Like this Moon in Virgo is bringing like an action plan that is practical, that is resourceful, while we're in the masculine expression of Mercury, which is Gemini, right? During this Gemini season, now we have this feminine expression of Mercury at our advantage, and it's trining Mercury in Taurus, which I think is also bringing communication that has actual like accountability and an action plan and things like that. So with this trine between the Moon and Mercury on Saturday, this is a great day for ancestral communication, altar work, dream work. And I say that specifically because we have the Moon in Virgo in the 4th house of the sun, which speaks a lot to our ancestry. This being in a feminine sign, it's definitely like the women and the divine feminines of our family. And then Mercury in Taurus is in the 12th house of the sun. So again, these houses are very occult in nature. Mercury being in the 12th house, it's about doing some of this ancestral work through our dreams, through taking, subconscious journeys, right? Whether that's through plant medicine, whether that's through sleeping and dream work, whatever avenue it is, but praying for clarity, right? Praying for visions of a blueprint. Like, all right, can you give me a little bit of when you're on the GPS and it says preview route, so you're just like, let me see the steps at least. Okay, I got to turn right here, take the highway for this one. Okay, cool. I got a blueprint, right? Praying for the realization that creativity is always at our disposal, right? Being creative with our resources and our energy. Praying for the ability to work with the elements to shift our reality, right? We may be having dreams about where we come from. We may be having dreams about what is this family story that we find ourselves in, right? Our ancestors are living in us and through us, but we also have our own individual story. So how does our life purpose, right, our north node, how does that complement or how does that deviate from the stories of our lineage? Like me, I love to teach, right? And I learned that I have quite a few teachers in my family. My grandfather was a teacher, well-read, well-traveled. Like he's a Sagittarius and I'm a Sagittarius rising. So it's like, you see, how does the goals and the interests and the stories of our ancestors naturally and organically live through us? This is a really great thing to explore on this day. It's also, it being a Saturday, right? Saturn. This is a great day to get organized, to get grounded, to take inventory of your finances, your resources, and the skills that you can leverage for expansion, right? Gemini season brings up a lot of ideas, a lot of possibilities, but earthy Mercury and Taurus, right, trining the Moon in mutable Virgo, gives us the ability to stay creatively open while also diligently taking responsibility for what is in our power and what is in our sphere of influence to actually execute. Okay, like Gemini is like, ooh, we can do this, we can think of this, we can think of that, and then we take a pause on this day to say, all right, so if I'm going to do this, how do I do that? What resources do I have available to make that happen? What is in my power right now to take action on this? So lastly, Empress was saying this earlier in the week, this is actually a very great day to invest time in learning. So this Gemini season, choose a topic or a skill that you want to learn more about. So whether that's gardening, whether you want to learn to play the guitar, whether you want to learn more about like the Byzantine Empire or the fall of Rome, whatever, right? Whatever topic or skill that you want to nurture, spend time reading, researching, practicing, right? Cultivating that skill. And I think that what a lot of us are going to find is that it's not hard, it's not difficult, but what's difficult is having the discipline to create time and space for consistent learning and practicing. And we've heard of the 10,000 hour rule, right? Which brings up the question, is learning quantum? Right? Can we learn something in an instant that we didn't know? Is learning time dependent? Do we just have to put those 10,000 hours in to get good at something? And I struggle with that question, right? But then I always tell myself, well, girl, you never gonna find out if you don't start. You're never gonna find out if you don't get close to those 10,000 hours for me to say, okay, I got here. And I'm like, I don't think it needed to take me 10,000 hours, but I'm grateful I put them in. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just philosophize about things. Like, actually try out the scientific method and use trial and error to see, like, tried that didn't work. Now I have that as personal experience. We transmute the Gemini into Sagittarius and say, now I have the wisdom about this because I actually tried it out and this is what I learned did and did not work. So try out a new skill, cultivate some time. This is a day to get like organized about what that skill is going to be and what your training plan or practicing plan is going to look like throughout this Gemini season, so that you can come out of Gemini and like initiate from that space in Cancer. Like, you actually have something to show for the time that you put in, and you can create something from that space when we get to the next cardinal sign. So that's what I'm getting for Saturday. What's your take on this, Empress?
Yes, love that. Cultivating skills is not hard. It's about creating that time and space for the consistent learning and practicing. That's so true. I resonated with that so much. So for Saturday, we have the moon in Virgo trining Mercury in Taurus on the 27th of May. And in the tarot, this is the high priestess in the energy of the Hermit and Knight of Pentacles, trining the Six of Pentacles energy. And today's forecast brings isolation from those interactions and uses of your time that are not productive to you and that are not in alignment with where you see yourself going. So exactly what Sol mentioned, how are you not creating time and space for your ability to consistently learn and practice those things you want to develop in terms of skills, right? With the Hermit here, you may be more in your spiritual bag on a day like today and less concerned with following the opinions of others, because you're more concerned with following your own flame with the Hermit here. So right now, it's a good idea to pour into the people that pour into you. You could be pouring into each other, as I mentioned for yesterday's transit, within relationship dynamics, in different ways that are still beneficial to what each other's needs are at this time. So for example, one of you may pour into the other by cooking, and the other person may pour into the other by providing groceries. So both of you get to eat, but your contributions are different, and they still help you to come together and have a valuable and harmonious exchange that serves both parties. So if you're experiencing an imbalance in your exhaustion and the level of work towards a particular relationship, or just with your ability to work on a specific skill that you want to see growth in, that feels unfair to you, like not being fairly compensated from your job, right? Like, if you feel that unfair energy, so like if you are waking up and you're like, oh, I have to go to this job, but I get severely underpaid, I don't feel valued, right? We're still coming off Taurus energy. This is still us leaving the runway this week. You don't feel, are there ways that you can begin to gradually pull back your energy from the dynamic to pull more into yourself and your own personal tasks and goals? Some of us in the collective are thinking about all of the tasks that we have to do, like this Virgo energy. I have this and this and this and this. You have a whole list. Meanwhile, you're being of service to and prioritizing work for other people. So you're not able to pour into yourself. You're not able to cultivate your own skills. You're not able to spend 10,000 hours. You can barely squeeze in 1 hour. This is the season of germination, remember? Right? Gemini season is a season of germination where we want to see sprouting. So remember that whatever you are watering with your energy at this time is what will be sprouting for you at this time as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there and let's get into Sunday Soul.
Yeah, it's all about, I love that we're going to end on that actually. I'll save it because we're going to end on that note for Sunday, May 28th, where we have the Sun in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces. So if you've been feeling creatively blocked, right, or you start to realize that as we, like Empress called it, adjust to the altitude this week of the Sun entering Gemini, because for anyone who came in recently, it's happening today, right? It happened today, very early in the morning here, Eastern Standard Time. So the Sun is in Gemini today. We're just getting used to it. So if we find ourselves, even maybe if not now, but throughout the week, feeling creatively blocked, or like you can't focus your mind and energy, you're scattered, it's time to take a step away and do something for our enjoyment. I'm like, look at me, a Capricorn, telling y'all to do this, telling myself to do this, right? That is growth, okay? But it's like, it's not working, right? At this point, like just trying to sit there and like power through it is not working, and we feel blocked. So it's time to like actually go in an environment that stimulates our creativity. And it's important to not make excuses, because Sun in Gemini is like, oh, but this is a reason why, but I have to do this, but I have to call this person, but I have to do this, but I can't not possibly, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a likelihood of making excuses, right, as to why you can't take the time to do something fulfilling. And I'm saying fulfilling very specifically because it's like not numbing, not something that is avoidant, not something like I'm just gonna zone out and whatever, sleep, right? I do that sometimes to cope. I'm like, girl, I need a nap. So it's like a nap, yeah, like it numbs me and it distracts me from like why my present reality feels overwhelming or boring or like not fulfilling. Like it makes it okay in the moment, but like I'm talking about actually something proactive that makes you feel either connected to your inner child, spiritually fulfilled, right? And this is bringing us back to lessons of Taurus season. Do we feel worthy of enjoyment? Do we feel worthy of balance? Right? Do we deny ourselves peace because we're afraid of what happens when we feel peace? So when this download came to me, I'm like, damn, I had to sit with that, right? Because peace brings accountability. Like, have you ever think back to a time where you're like, I'm at peace. I feel peace. There's nothing triggering my nervous system right now. There's no pressing deadline. There's no crisis that I need to fix. It's like, whoa, what did it take to get here? Right? Peace brings the accountability because now you know that feeling and you have at least somewhat of an idea of what it took to get you there. Like, damn, waking up early and getting my things done brings peace. You know, not procrastinating brings peace. Being financially responsible brings peace. It's like, damn, you know, peace brings accountability. It's like if we're always in crisis, you're like, I don't really know what's not working. I don't really know what I'm doing to self-sabotage. But when we're like, damn, I actually created a routine, or I actually got more rest, or I spent time with friends. It's going to be different for all of us, right? But we realize, whoa, X plus Y plus Z equals peace. So now, because I know better, I'm either going to feel the cognitive dissonance of not doing better, or I'm going to try to step up and say, these are the things that work. So when it's not working, when I feel blocked, these are some of the things that I can try to do to get to a better place, because I feel like I'm worthy of being in a better place. So plan a local adventure, right? I love that we're circling back to things that you talked about at the beginning of the week, Empress. I wrote down to go to the library, right? To go to a music event, go to a yoga or a kickboxing class, right? And walking is free. Taking a walk, getting up, putting on some shoes, whether you like headphones or not, whatever. Leaving your house and going for a walk is free. So it's like you don't have to do anything too crazy. Just try. Just put in effort, be willing, right? Continuing to try and operate on empty has not been working. So go back to the drawing board of how you can maintain a balance between rest, play, creativity, and execution, so that we don't have these intense swings between hyperproductivity and burnout. And then lastly, just a separate thought, if you've definitely been like seriously considering publicizing your musical skills, your intuitive abilities, photography, some sort of charity initiative, art, or your counseling work, especially with drugs and addiction or formerly incarcerated people, definitely start seriously doing research to fill the gaps of knowledge about what you need to make it happen, which Empress, you talked about this earlier, like our opportunity is in the information that we don't know. So how do we actually learn more about how do you start a business in this? How do you start a career in this, right? And filling the gaps of knowledge in the steps to actually get there, right? So Cancer season, we can initiate from this space of like, boom, I got the information that I need to make it happen. So that's what I have for Sunday's energy, with the Sun in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces. Empress, you can close us out on what this square looks like in the tarot.
Yes, so to end out the week with Sunday's transit on May 28th, on Sunday we have the Sun in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces. And in the tarot, this is the Sun in the energy of the Lovers and Knight of Swords, squaring the World in the Moon and Knight of Cups energy. And this really just made me think of this question. First of all, how are the ways we think about our brightness with the Sun card here? How are the ways we think about our brightness and identity potentially preventing us from emotional experiences that will bring about growth for us? And this can be happening on the internal or external today with this transit. The Sun is now in the tarot. The Sun card is literally with the Lover's energy. So this is bringing a focus, right? Potential happiness, positivity, and energy into the space of bringing about harmony between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, right? And so on an internal scale, do you actually listen to your ideas? Because a lot of us, like with Gemini, and we spoke about this for today's energy, as Sol mentioned, so definitely go to YouTube to listen to Sunday's transit for today. And internally, we get so many ideas in Gemini season. Mentally, like it's literally that energy. Mercury rules Gemini. So we're going to get an influx of ideas. Like we can do this, we can do that, we can handle it this way, you can handle it that way. Like, oh, I could do this creatively. So you're getting so many ideas internally, but do you actually listen to your ideas and then take a step further to nurture yourself through execution of those ideas, through actual implementation of those ideas in your physical reality? Because we may have an influx in our mental space of things that we can do, but how are you executing them? How are you making yourself feel on the feminine side? Because we talked about air, Gemini being a masculine, right? That's your mind, your thoughts, ideas that are coming through. But now that they're coming through, how do you settle them into your feminine energy? And your feminine and masculine are working together on an internal scale to say, this is an idea, I'm going to lead us into executing this idea. And then your feminine energy is like, yeah, I can nurture and help support this and allow and help it to grow and show it love and show it attention and show it affection, right? And beautify it. I can add the creative aspect to that idea that I'm now getting to allow it to be germinated, right? Pouring water on a seed, that's feminine energy. Water is feminine, right? So how are you germinating those ideas and allowing them to grow? Through execution, through implementation in your physical reality. On the external scale, in your relationships with others, we've been talking about relationship dynamics this entire week. With those relationship dynamics, do you actually open yourself to experiences that place you in intentional vulnerability? Sometimes when you're in relationships, you have to intentionally surrender, intentionally bring your emotions into that relationship, intentionally share your emotions in that relationship dynamic. So how are you actually opening yourself to experiences that will put you in places and spaces of intentional vulnerability so that you can actually face yourself? Gemini is the twins. When you have emotional experiences with other people, depending on how those experiences go, it mirrors back to you how you are projecting your emotions in those situations. And sometimes we will shy away from having to face ourselves because we don't want to expose ourselves or be intentionally vulnerable with another person to do that. There's more comfortability in not embracing engagement. Gemini, like I said, is where we're sharing, right? Where we're wanting to learn. So how are you placing yourself in situations where you can intentionally learn more about your other twin that's maybe hidden, right? That internal, the subconscious, that feminine energy that's inside. How are you allowing yourself to learn more about your feminine energy and face yourself and see aspects of your personality that will allow you to see sprouting, that will allow you to water certain aspects of yourself that are thirsty, that are dry, that need water, that need nurturing. So thinking about that, reflecting on that for a day like today, I definitely love what you mentioned, Soul, about, publicizing musical skills and intuitive abilities and, getting into our photography, charity, right? Counseling work. These are all feminine type of, inspired work that we can be doing in society. So definitely working with that to practice and work with our intentional vulnerability so that we can learn and develop on that internal scale when it comes to our feminine and stepping into our power, because we have Venus in Cancer. So I'll leave it there. I love how this week transcribed in the beginning of the week. Most definitely it might feel a little bit more uncomfortable, you might feel a little bit more out of place, but not shying away from conversations that can allow us to express our truth and be honest within all types of relationship dynamics, as we mentioned. Also allowing yourself to learn, knowing that we might be feeling stagnant because of our resistance to learning, to experience or be open to information that we just don't know yet, right? So I love how this week transcribed, how it's ending. Happy solar return to all my Gemini fam, okay? And I know you guys are going to turn up and have an amazing week, have an amazing month, and just say that's all the tea that we have brewed for this week, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for another cosmic forecast. And may this upcoming week empower you to heal, grow, and thrive, okay? Check out our available links so that you can join the email list, so that you can order your AstroTea products. And you can also book a personal consultation with us to go over this Gemini season for you personally, girl. So don't forget, guy, whoever, okay, to do that now. And we love you all. Have a terrific week and keep shining, keep shining.